What is going on, all of you amazing gamers out there in the world? I am Megam, so thank you for watching this YouTube video. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, I appreciate you stopping by. And excuse me, before we get into this, I do want to shout out Good Vibes Gaming for this video, talking about this game that showed up on the PS5 store not that long ago, just about a month ago as of this recording, called Animal Life Sim. And you might be looking at this and be like, huh, this looks similar to a game that I know about, called Animal Crossing, which is a Nintendo first-party game. However, this showed up on the PlayStation Store on PS5 and I imagine PS4. So, the topic of this video today is talking about these like almost copycat or shovelware games that are flooding, specifically it seems to be the PlayStation Store and the Nintendo eShop. Now, a lot of people have referred to these as AI slop or slop games, whatever you want to call it. But there's been a lot of these. There was one that was a copycat of The Last of Us that showed up on the Nintendo eShop. I forget what that was called. Let me know in the comments below if you happen to remember. It's very strange stuff. This is Animal Life Sim showing up on the PlayStation. From what I can tell, Xbox and Steam don't seem to have this issue, but definitely let me know in the comments below if you've seen that be the case. And there's a lot of cases, a lot of simulator games especially, there's like 50 million of them, and there's like deluxe versions and all sorts of stuff happening here. And it's just absolutely flooding the eShop. And honestly, the eShop runs slow enough as it is, for example, and adding all these games make it run slower. And you're also burying actual games. I guess there was a situation with the Unpacking game, if you've heard of that indie game, on mobile, where there were a bunch of other like Unpacking, like deluxe editions and all sorts of stuff. And those have been taken down now, apparently. But for a while, it was just like these copycat games that were not at all affiliated with the original game. That's actually Animal Crossing there. Yeah, very much so. Just like look at these stills. I mean, different perspective here, but of course there is almost straight up copycat DNA for this. I do want to shout out this article written by Rebecca Valentine over on IGN about a week ago as of this recording. I can make a boom for the game. Maybe it eventually got taken down. But the problem here is that a lot of these slop games, right, are being added to these stores in mass, usually from like the same group of 5 or 10 development studios, just probably random people using generative AI to create these. Maybe not necessarily, but still, a lot of these are being made, and they're usually discounted when they launch for like a few dollars maximum. And so people look at them like, oh, it's like a few bucks, I'll still get it. So even if it's a copycat, or it's just, yeah, e-slop as Rebecca's calling it here, it's like it gets taken, like even if it gets taken down, they're still making money. So they can keep making these games, these slop games, in the chance that someone will buy it, and then it gets taken down, okay, they still made a profit. So that's the problem. And the issue is it's affecting other games on these stores. Like PlayStation and Nintendo should not be advertising these games, but they're showing up. There's something goofy going on of the PlayStation Store and the eShop. Over the last few months, especially, two storefronts have been slowly filling up with what some users are referring to as slop. Highlighting how the eShop specifically, Nintendo definitely has the worst for sure, seems to be advertising more and more games that use a combination of generative AI and misleading store pages. That's another thing. A lot of these games show specific screenshots, and then the actual game isn't at all what it's advertising. It's completely fake based on the images there. Yeah, and usually cheap, low-quality games that aren't what they claim to be. And apparently it's recently spread to the PlayStation Store, filling the games to wish list section, which is wild. Yeah, let's look at this. Doctor Simulator, Airjet, Aquatic Expedition. These two seem like they could be legitimate. This Doctor Simulator, 100%, that's a fake AI-generated game. You can just tell straight up from there. We got this crazy-looking one. Am I allowed to show this? Weird-looking stuff. What's going to happen? Oh, this is Horses 2025. Shout out to the main quest. Yeah, I heard about this one as well. This game called Horses 2025 that was supposed to come out on PlayStation next year. It has been taken down, the page, based on this footage here. Like, look at this. This is literally just real-life stock horse footage. That's real people. That's literally real. This is real footage, drone footage, flying above that. This is all just like random stock footage of horses. That might have been AI generated right there. It's like this isn't accurately going to represent the game in the slightest. So it's definitely misleading. It's been taken down though. Trailer Oddity cinematic trailer shows no concrete gameplay, right, but alternates between real-life film footage and in-engine renders. The trailer does not distinguish between these two in any way, striking me very intentional. Yeah, for sure. They obviously want you to think that the real trailer Turns out that the Shovel's short gameplay shots in Horses 2025 trailer, including the first-person horse riding here, were taken directly from this trailer for an Unreal asset called Ultimate Horse System. Can I... There we go. Oh, literally. Literally. What? Okay. So they literally, an AI generated screenshots, they literally took assets, footage from an already existing like Unreal thing. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me the kind of stuff that people can get away with. And Nintendo and Sony, for somehow, they're allowing these games to show up on their stores. I don't know how this is happening. I really don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. But the quality control, especially for those two stores, seems to be horrendous, apparently. And the thing is they're not just bad games. It's like genuinely slop. A flood of very similar looking things that are crowding out everything else. That's the ultimate issue, is that actual games, especially, this affects indies especially, who need that eShop or PlayStation Store exposure for people to check out their game. They rely on that. And these crap games are coming out, these AI slop games are coming out and flooding the store, especially when they're on sale, so they fill up the great deals page as well. Often play on themes used by other popular games, you can rip out the names entirely. Yeah, hyper-stylized art and screenshots of sync of generative AI. What's more, various users pointed out, these games are often churned out mercilessly by a very small handful of companies. So we have a list of companies here. Oh yeah, the Card Shop Manager. I've heard about this one. Look at all these. Look at all these. Publisher Maxim Vysochansky. Trading is in. Okay, apparently that is one. Oh, Chains Through Hell, I've heard, is one of those. So yeah, don't buy any games from this publisher. Sorry. Mechanics Supermarket 2024, Anime Girls Military Strike, Pet Clinic Simulator, Cyberpunk Hacker. They get into Cyberpunk. Like, look at how many of these there are. Look at how many these there are, and they're all like under $10. Some of them are marked on sale. A lot of simulations, a lot of girls in bikinis, of course. It's literally, and this just happened. It's crazy. So there's a lot of this going on. Magical World of Cert spoke. Yeah, I'm curious about this part. I spoke to 8 individuals in game development and publishing, all of whom requested anonymity. Right. All of them had recent extensive experience releasing games on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Their accounts help me better understand the process. Very, very generally, the process for all four storefronts roughly goes something like this. First, a developer publisher has to pitch to Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, or Valve who they are and what they want to ship on the storefront to gain access to development backend portals, and in the case of consoles, dev kits, which is crazy to me. So is this step being skipped for Nintendo and Sony? Like, what's going on here? From there, the developer or publisher fills out the forms describing their games, what it entails. Platform holder paperwork tends to ask questions such as blah, blah, blah. Then it's on to the certification lot check, where the platform holder checks to see if the build fits platform requirements. Very specific technical requirements, such as checking what happens if a save is corrupted, what happens if a controller gets disconnected during gameplay, so forth. You can see a lot of the requirements for Steam and Xbox, but Nintendo and Sony, interestingly, do not publish their requirements. I'm curious like what the requirements for Steam are here. How to build a store page, interesting. So they have a whole, if you want to go into these details, you can for yourself. Yeah, it checks to ensure games aren't breaking any laws. The gamers is that a cert is a tantamount to a QA check. Okay. A common misconception amongst the gamers, shout out, and even inexperienced devs is that it's tantamount to a QA check. This is incorrect. That's the responsibility of the developer publisher prior to submission. The platform checks to make sure they get right. So it's almost like there's no QA happening. So there's no QA check, but they're doing this lot check to actually make sure the game can run on the system. Fails is kicked back to the front and center. The store page themselves, those I spoke to told me all the platform holders do have some requirements of asking developers, publishers to do screenshots and accurately represent the game they're selling, but there's no concrete process. The reviews are largely just to ensure there's no competing imagery for like, okay, the competing systems. I know of one game that had to resubmit screenshots because the developer submitted PC screenshots that have foliage and reflections that would plainly be impossible to render. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it makes sense they wouldn't be able to do that. It's also told that while Nintendo and Xbox review all changes to store pages before they're allowed to go live, PlayStation does just one check near launch to confirm everything looks okay. Valve does a review of the store page before it's initially set live. Quite literally submit the store page as one game, get Valve approval. Okay. Yeah, this is a whole article. I don't want to look too much here, but very generally telling the process of the way. Yeah, why are Sony and Nintendo store pages being flooded with what seems to be misrepresented low-effort sim games using generative AI and others? Multiple developers explained to me that while Nintendo, Sony, and Valve all vet applications on a developer or publisher basis, Microsoft is the only company that vets on a game-per-game basis. This means that for the former three, once you've been approved once, it's much easier to simply pump out games. So, like, one of these studios can make, like, maybe, like, still a bad, low-budget game, but, like, an actual game, and then from there, it sounds like on everything else, they could just publish it forward. Apparently, Xbox puts a lot of effort into the service. Okay, so Xbox probably has the best quality control. I guess that makes sense, because even Steam doesn't have the best quality control. Nintendo is probably the easiest to scam. Once you're in the door, you make fart, fart, poopy fart. Once you get taken down. Right, but the fact that it gets up there is the problem. And then ensure their games are at the top of the sales page. Right, you just gotta, like, discount it properly. Yeah, look at all. We got these. Yeah, Doctor Simulator, Kebab Simulator. I kind of love that. Little niche ones. Schoolboy Simulator, Ambulance 911 Simulator. But it's like, some of these are actual games. Like, you have Onimusha here, Perpetual Mouthwashing. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's real. Or is the regular game called Mouthwashing? I don't know. It's probably a good place to point out that at least someone user complaining about is not entirely a slop issue. Is exasperated by that old impossible chestnut discoverability. Right, a lot of it comes down to discoverability, but like games, especially indie games, need discoverability on these shops. And the problem is all these crap games are just being added. Using big Nintendo, Sony in particular, get their act together in storefront regulation. Right. Publishers and developers have spoken for the piece were not helpful. Not hopeful. Several said they had no expectation that Nintendo would fix the eShop now. Probably not. I mean, I hope they just improve it for the Switch 2, but probably not. It's probably going to use a similar network. No, yeah, nor would the problem be solved with the announced Switch 2. They can check anyone else's store and see what to do. I'm optimistic it'll be 10% better than the Switch store. Okay, 10% better. Hey, that's still better. Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. So it's like, this whole article is really long, but it's like, I don't know. It's a really good article written by Rebecca Valentine. If you want to read the whole thing, definitely go check it out. But it is definitely just a very long article there, just detailing everything that's going on here. Once again, shout out to Good Vibes Gaming for this video here on Animal Life Sim from the PlayStation. It's just this issue of quality control, right? Because it's like, it still boggles my mind that Nintendo and Sony in particular have such loose like regulation policies when it comes to the store that they're just letting all these games slip through. Like that one detail that's standing out to me is the fact that Microsoft judges a game per game basis, whereas all the other platforms seem to like be like, oh, if you've published a game before, like you'll have more credibility, so they'll just do less of a check. Like, no, you should be checking every single game because you literally never know. You know what I mean? It's just bad. Just do your research. All I'm gonna say is do your research when you browse these stores. Check to see if these games are legitimate or not. Look up the developers, see what other games they have. Especially if you're into like the simulator genre. I'm personally not, but if you like to play a lot of like farming simulator, power washing simulator, like actual legit simulator games, be careful out there. Like check the trailers, check the screenshots, check the developer history, like look that up because like you want to make sure even if it seems cheap, like you do not want to buy one of these games because it's going to be just absolute trash that is a waste of your money. It's not going to be the actual game you thought it was, and these developers are going to get profit. And then, yeah, sure, their game's going to be taken down eventually, but they're going to keep coming back and adding another 5 games for one game that got taken down, you know? It is genuinely presenting a problem here. And, like, listen, AI generative stuff, like, if you want to have that for some systems in your game, go for it. But, like, when it's just, like, completely ripping off something else, that's where I draw the line. Like, that's, like, this is literally a rip-off of Animal Crossing. There was the game that was a rip-off of The Last of Us. Unpacking had that example. Let me know any other examples you could think of in the chat, in the comments below. I know there's a whole Pal World discussion, but that one's, I feel like, a little more gray, whereas this, I mean, this is blatantly Animal Crossing being ripped off here. So it's like, I don't know. It's, just be careful out there when you're shopping. Just be careful. I really hope, I'm not optimistic, but I really hope, like, especially Sony and Nintendo can look at these scenarios and add some more quality control. I don't know what they'll do, but at least add some more quality control. Not to the point where you're screwing over other games, like actual indie studio games in particular, because then, you know, you want to make sure their games get on the storefront. You know, that could be an issue, depending on how hard they go on the quality control. But, you know, I hope there's some additional regulations they can start to look into. I'm not optimistic they will, but I hope so. So honestly, a lot of it comes down to us, which sucks. A lot of it comes down to us as consumers of games who buy games. Just do your research, make sure if there's a game online that looks super cheap, simulator, I don't know, random knockoff game, like just double check, do your research. Or, you know, I wouldn't even buy these games for the content, because then you're supporting this type of behavior on the shop. So I personally wouldn't do that. Up to you, your own decision, but just wanted to throw this out as a little PSA for anybody. Like I said, go check out that article by Rebecca Valentine. I'm going to try to link it in the description below. But with that, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these like AI slop games that keep appearing on these storefronts? Have you tried any? Don't try if you haven't yet. And, you know, is there anything that Nintendo and Sony and other platform holders can do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all on the next video or live stream. And until then, keep on gaming, but be careful. Use your eyes. See you later.